What's up, nerds? We're your hosts this week. I am Jake,
I am Chad.
and this week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
We are also sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
So, this week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about episode 3 now. Yeah, episode 3 of Halo on Paramount Plus.
We're also going to talk about episode 2 of Moon Knight streaming on Disney Plus.
Hmm.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. Welcome back, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Before we, get into this episode, Jake, how was your week?
I mean, week stuff is pretty boring, but the weekend was fun. We bought a refrigerator and a dishwasher for the house.
What's it like being an adult?
I don't know. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. I felt like a super good adult until because I was like, man, I'm really excited. We just bought a refrigerator and a dishwasher. And then I told everybody about it and they were like, who gives a shit? And I was like, oh, okay.
Me? That's terrible. Man,
That's whatever.
hey man, look at this super grown up thing that I just did. Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Who knew I'd get excited about a refrigerator? You know what I mean? But
I asked for a picture of the refrigerator and I was like, oh,
and your thoughts on the refrigerator?
it's a good looking fridge.
It's a nice looking fridge.
It's a good fridge. It looks nice. I wish that I had a fridge like that. I've only had other than my parents' house, like their fridge, I've
Yeah.
only had apartment sized refrigerators where you're
Same.
like, wow, this is a small freezer, it's a small fridge.
Same. I've never actually had my own fridge before.
That's a cool thing to have.
Yeah. And a dishwasher. But anyways, how was your week?
Well, I mean, it was, it's fine. No, we mentioned last week that I had a date for this week, which is very exciting.
How is Tracy, by the way?
It was not a date with my mom, but she's doing good. I actually talked to her earlier today before we podcasted. She's doing good. No, my date went really well. I mean, I would hope so because we have a second date scheduled. So,
Woohoo!
not going to go into too many details because I talked about the
Yeah.
podcast on the date, and I'm very
Yeah.
easy to find on the internet.
Yeah.
So-
But her name is no, I'm just kidding.
No, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. So,
Awesome. Good for her. Um
probably more sad for her because I look like this. Just a potato.
we're not going there. The only other news that we have is that we talked about going to see Morbius and we decided against it. We're gonna
I'm
wait for
glad
it.
that we didn't go
Yeah.
see it.
We're gonna wait till it's free and then we'll shit all over it. But
It's on track to be the second worst superhero movie. Not second worst Marvel, not second worst of modern
DC.
superhero.
yeah,
Second worst superhero movie of all time. The number one worst superhero movie all time is the movie Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal.
yeah. So yeah, we
Oh.
decided against it. We're just
Yeah.
gonna wait till it's free, and then we'll just watch it and And I've seen a number of clips online. I'm not looking for them. I've just seen them on TikTok and stuff like that, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
no.
I'm glad that we're not spending our money on this. Also, I hope that Sony is not necessarily watching us, but just watching the dumpster fire that they created. Because the Madam Web film was supposed to be written by the same people that did Morbius, same
Mhm.
writers, all
Yeah.
that stuff. I hope that they were just like,
They
nah.
don't care. I just don't think they care because Venom was bad. Venom 2 was bad. Morbius is bad. I just don't think they give a shit, man.
No, they're riding on Marvel's success to let them keep making these movies that aren't good. And that's a sad thing because, like, The Amazing
It
Spider Man,
yeah.
the Spider Man films with Tobey Maguire, like, those
And
were
it
all
makes
pretty good.
and it
Spider
makes
Man
me really
3
worried
was
for
rushed. But,
it makes me really worried for the future of Into the Spider-Verse.
well, I think they're bringing back the same people to do that.
Still makes me worried.
It does. I think that it just means that we'll be able to get really good seats when the premiere happens.
Dope.
You know, like we can wait a few
I
days and then
That's
buy.
probably the only Sony produced Spider-Man-esque project that I'm actually excited for.
Yeah.
Everything else, Craven, Madam Web,
Oh yeah, Craven. Well,
I think it's gonna suck
it's gonna
dicks.
be more of the same. Hey, let's turn this villain into someone super likable, and
Well, and
then
they did.
eventually we'll let them introduce with Spider-Man, and then you're gonna be like,
I'm so
this doesn't
conflicted.
make
Yeah.
sense because like I already like the villain.
Well, and they did literally, it's like a formula that they have over there. And I didn't mean to go this far into it, but I'm going to. But
That's
like,
fine.
oh, Rogue, oh, dog fart. Uh, um, they with Venom, like you said, Venom 1 and Venom 2, they were like, hey, let's bring in who's the bad guy going to be? We already have Venom. Who's the bad guy going to be for Venom? We can't have it be Spider-Man. Let's make it another symbiote. And they're like, all right, we got to make the second one even better. What's it going to be? An even worse symbiote. For Morbius, it's much of the same. It's his like friend, like childhood friend that also takes the same serum and becomes a
It's like
vampire
his
as
Harry
well.
Osborn.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The MCU did this with a lot of the origin stories, with like, the Ironmonger being just a big bad, clunky Iron Man.
But but
Killmonger in Black Panther. I mean,
but they made it enjoyable. Like
yeah,
you
they
can follow a formula and make the movie good. It's like I was gonna make a weird reference, but it's like baking. Like you can like follow a recipe and have it turn out like shit because you don't know what you're doing, or you can follow a recipe and have it turn out really well because you know what you're doing.
yeah,
Like
and
MCU
also
knows
like
what they're doing. Sony does not.
Killmonger was an actual person in the comics that
Mm-hmm.
like went well, and I don't know enough about like Morbius from the comics to know
Yeah,
anything about Matt Smith's character,
I don't.
Doctor Who, whatever. We know that Carnage is a big bad, but Carnage was the thing that kind of like made Spider-Man and Venom team up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just taking this formula of, oh, we'll just take their evil equal, but they're using villains to create the evil equal,
Yeah,
and it's not working.
it's not good.
Do better. Hey Sony, see these? These are yours. Stop.
Stop it. I said no. That's bad.
No. Oh, sorry for those of you guys who are not watching on YouTube. For those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, go subscribe.
Yeah.
We slap around
Also,
ball sacks.
also, um, let's just get in. Let's move on.
Okay, fine. So this week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks. You guys have heard us talk about Ray's for over a year now. Absolutely fantastic energy drinks. 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 crash. Tons of great flavors, and so much more than just energy drinks if that's not your thing. Listen up. We'll be right back to talk about Halo. But in the meantime, learn how you can save 15% on your order. And if you haven't yet, seriously give it a try. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Ray's Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high quality formula to bring a powerful yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to talk about Halo Episode 3, now streaming on Paramount Plus. This episode was another slow one. It's episode 2. Episode 1 was opened so strong, and episode 2 and 3 have been a little slower. It's kind of a bummer, but powering through.
I think that they had to open super strong just because it's a video game based TV series.
Because they wrote the rest of it super boring, and they're like, man, we got to get these guys in here at the first episode.
Very well could be. I mean, because it has been very slow.
Yeah.
Still good. I said this last week, but it's very much like world building. Not majority, but a good portion of like the diehard audience that's watching it as it airs are fans of the game. So like they have at least an understanding of what's going on. It's still tough. Man, it's a little slow.
Yeah. High hopes though.
Yeah, high hopes, and especially after the first episode, like as the action starts to kick back in, I have no doubt that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of something here, and you know what I mean? Like throw a little something in the episodes.
I want to see, a little bit more of the Spartans actually like kicking ass.
Yeah.
We do see, we didn't actually write this down, but we mentioned it last week of the girl that's kind of like living with the Covenant. We get to see that she has a little bit more control over the Covenant than what we were originally shown. It looked like they were going to show the hunters, and I was so excited to see an actual hunter, and then it just turned out to be like worms and snakes that kill everyone.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
They looked like the penis thing from The Boys 2. The Boys season 2.
Yes.
It looked like a bunch of penises running around choking everybody out. It was weird.
But when it first shows them like kind of out of frame, like you see armor plates, and it's like, oh my god, that's the super muscly hunters that we know from the games. And I got super excited. Then we actually like saw them again. I was like, oh, she's just throwing dildos.
And then you got even more excited.
Well, I mean, who doesn't get excited about someone throwing dildos? I mean,
oh god.
If you relax enough and smile.
That's the sorry mom. That's the sorry mom. But anyway, yeah.
But I mean, with that being said, we're sorry, Mom.
Dildo. You fucking dildo.
You can't get excited and say, "Oh, that's the sorry, Mom," and not say sorry, Mom. So I had to do that to get us there.
I gotcha. More we get more of Cortana.
Yes.
More going on there. Go ahead.
And
I know you're excited.
last week and at the start when we first started talking about this 3 weeks ago, I was super excited because the original actress that they modeled Cortana off of in the video games for like the graphics and then especially the voice was listed as on the cast. And we get a look at Cortana before she's actually an AI, and it looks very much like a bald Halsey. And it turns out that that is just a bald Halsey. And by Halsey, we don't mean the recording artist. We mean the actress that plays Halsey in the show.
Yeah.
So I jumped the gun on being like, oh, it's the same actress. Yeah. It still is, but not for her live action body double, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they model the AI and the graphic off of the original actress, just like they did in the games, and it's still her voice. So it's still awesome.
Yeah.
But I jumped the gun a little bit last week, so I am sorry about that, guys. Peeps, trying hard.
There you go. Get better.
Yeah.
That was better. At least you corrected yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that we're trying to be better at. Yeah. But we do get a lot of Cortana in this episode, which is pretty awesome.
She's in his head now.
Yeah, which in this show they made it as like an injection instead of just like a chip that goes into his suit.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to correct that throughout the show or in subsequent seasons. We also don't know if this is a one-off season. But in the games, it's more just a computer chip that plugs into Master Chief's helmet, where in this right now it is a legit implant into his brain.
Maybe it will be because like they did go out of their way to show him like removing an implant in this episode, a different implant, but
yeah.
And then Halsey's like, yeah, let him. Cortana's like, he's trying to remove his implant for, I forgot what it was. And Halsey's like, help him take it out so that he'll trust you more.
Yeah, it was for like his blocker that they implant in all the Spartans.
It's like a beta blocker.
Yeah, kind of. Or blue, or blue blockers, you know, just for the old people with cataracts that can't look left or right.
Stupid.
Sorry, that was a really lame joke, and we should respect our elders unless they're
we're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. Kwan Ha, who I have so far in the first 2 episodes have liked, is kind of annoyed me a little bit in this episode.
She seems very much like the Daenerys of this show.
A little entitled.
Just seeking revenge on all those who wronged her. And like that enough is great for character building.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until now, I have really liked her. So I hope that it's not going to become a pattern.
And I hope that they do it right. Not just let her keep being
a bratty.
Like, no. Let them be strong. Let them be kick ass. Because the first 2 episodes, she still was that. And just build on it. Instead of being like, oh, I'm going to stand up to a Spartan and call him an asshole. And he's like, yeah, okay, kid. Dinner's at 8.
I really liked her in the first 2 episodes. I really want to continue liking her. She just annoyed me in this one particular episode. Very briefly, I'm hoping that they reel that in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a lot of screen time in this episode. No. But like you said, like, really enjoyable character. No. Just do it right.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Well, we already said that.
I mean, we kind of mentioned. Yeah. Sorry, you started to say the
Halsey's very manipulative.
She's just
behind
the
the scenes.
Worst.
She's clearly not a good person in the show. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that because she plays a role in the games, And in the books, like she's still gonna be a part of it, but she's very much trying to like control everything and have as much power as possible.
Yeah.
And we even get kind of a little bit of a glimpse of it, more so in the episode before, but also in this with like the other Spartans, where they retrieve Master Chief, and they're like, well, "Why are we doing this? Like, if he has a plan," they're like, "Oh, Halsey said." And we see more of Halsey just steamrolling, really, of trying to be in as much control as possible.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a good person. She's really not. Like, in the lore of things, in the story, she's not great. She's the necessary evil, I guess you could say. But we get to see a little bit of like the discord between Halsey and Master Chief, with, like we mentioned, with him removing his implant, the pill blocker that's in his spine, and Halsey's like, just let him do it. He'll trust you more. Like, she's still like pulling the strings, even though it's creating the Master Chief that we know from the games. And I just slapped my ball sack, and it dropped a couple of inches on camera. Yeah.
Your balls finally dropped.
Again, go follow us on YouTube.
Oh man. Okay. Well, anything else on Halo, or do you wanna?
It's been really enjoyable, even though the past couple of episodes have been very slow. They're very much world building episodes. I'm just excited for what's to come as a fan. So, take it away, Jake, with sponsor Nombro more than one.
Shush.
No.
Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce, a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes on practically anything. Listen up, and we will tell you more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, everybody. So this week, episode 2 of Moon Knight on Disney Plus came out, and the show is so good. It's really enjoyable. And it's a little dark, gritty, and the end of the first episode, and then especially throughout this episode, it gets a little violent.
Parts of it are a little creepy too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some scenes where like this could be a horror film.
Yeah. Well, for you maybe.
Well, yeah, because I'm a weenie. Whatever.
There's the one of the first things that happens in the episode that I thought was really cool is we get to watch the museum footage of the attack that happened at the end of the first episode, and as it we'll say it later on in this our episode of the podcast as we talk about it, but they don't show anything happening other than Steven running around the museum and knocking shit over
and crying
and crying. And
the security guard's like, "Are you crying?" He's like, "Yeah, maybe a little."
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, but then like you see him at the end, and he is like walking. He's like, "Go to the end to where I walk out of the bathroom," and they show him, and he looks right at the camera, and he goes, "That's you, mate," and he's like, "That's not me." Like,
yeah, it's very much Mark.
Yeah. So at first, my first reaction when you and I talked about it, I was like, "Oh, Mark went back and like changed the footage and like reenacted the scene to make it look like
Yeah.
Steven just a crazy piece of shit. But in reality, as we find out later on in the episode, uh, the jackals, which we finally got a name for them as well, are not visible to everybody.
Yeah.
So it really was happening, and he obviously we know that as the viewer, but
Yeah.
in the footage, he's being chased by something that the security team can't see, which is pretty funny.
And also going back and like watching that scene from the first episode, like the jackals aren't causing damage.
No,
Like
they're just chasing him.
They're jumping around, but they're avoiding objects. Like it's so to anyone watching it in live time, like they just see like this crazy dude like running around, almost knocking shit over, and crying. But we know what actually happened.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I don't want to take over this
Well,
thing.
I
You
steamrolled you throughout the Halo, so let's.
We in the end of the first episode, or towards the end of the first episode, we get to see that Steven finds a cell phone and he talks to somebody on the other line of it, which is a female. We also see that he has a key, and we get to see where that key goes to, which is a storage unit. And when he goes to the storage unit, we get to see some creepy shit. Well, I mean, first of all, he walks into the room and there's mirrors all over the place, so that we get a pretty cool like interaction with between Mark and Steven, which was cool.
Yeah, and Mark's like, "Go lay on that bed."
Yeah, take a nap and let me take over.
Yeah, and then I'll fix this, and then you can go back to your life.
Yeah.
But also throughout that storage unit that he's in, that's just like mirror lined. There's like a military cot. Mm-hmm. There's a duffel bag with
money,
countless dollars in different world currencies.
Currencies,
yeah. Currencies. Thank you. And like a gun and all this stuff, because for those of you that know from the comics, Mark Spector was a mercenary. Mm-hmm. Ex-Marine, at least ex-Army, ex-Armed Forces. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And there's all this stuff as well as notes and artifacts and all this stuff to kind of like show Mark Spector's character without actually meeting him, except for through a reflection of Steven, which was really cool. And we get to see them talk, and he's like, "Holy shit, you're real."
Yeah,
Steven. It's weird because when we say Steven, we say Mark. They're the same actor. They do this show really well with showing like the host and the alternatives of dissociative identity disorder. Like they kind of are aware of each other more so now, but one is never fully in control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool.
This is like kind of one of the creepier parts of the episode, is like as he's leaving the storage unit,
which he are you talking about?
Like, huh?
Are you talking about Steven, Mark? Which he?
Stop it, Steven.
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally it wouldn't matter.
Mark has not taken over
this show.
At this point yet. Yeah. But yeah, Steven's leaving the storage unit, and Khonshu starts kind of like stalking him through the storage unit, and yeah, it's creepy. I mean, the lights are going out, and Khonshu is like floating all ghostly, and
it's shot really well. It's shot like a horror film.
The only thing I don't really like about Khonshu is the floating head thing. I think that's weird.
Yeah.
But that was not...
You've also complained about the fact that like he's a voice in his head because of how much Sony is fucked up.
Yeah. how much I hate Venom, and he just sounds kind of like Venom, you know?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. What's really cool though is that the person that voices Conchu, we didn't talk about this when we were writing out, and I also did not look up the actor's name. But the first time that the person that voices Conchu worked with Oscar Isaac was in like Oscar Isaac's like claim to fame with Inside Llewyn Davis. Like they're in the same
Oh
film
yeah.
together, which is really cool. That a lot of these actors that are brought into the Moon Knight series are people that Oscar Isaac has worked with and been like,
Hmm.
be a part of this because I like you and we have chemistry. So it feels natural, like the conversation. But
Oh yeah. Um.
sorry, that was a rant that meant really nothing for the scheme of the show, but here we are.
But we get to meet Layla, who is the girl on the
Yes.
other line of the phone in the end of the first episode. We finally get to put a face to her. Um, yeah,
Yeah. And who is she in relation to
she
Mark?
she's Mark's wife, which
Yeah.
is hilarious, and she's there to get a divorce.
Yeah. And Steven's like, huh, I just met you, but I love you. I would never get a
Yeah,
divorce from you.
yeah. Why would I divorce you? Yeah,
You love
yeah.
the same
That's
poetry. You love, I mean, obviously, because Steven's like a projection or an
mhm,
alternative. So, like, the best parts of Layla is his personality.
mhm.
But he's like, I don't want a divorce. I don't know
Yeah.
you, but like,
So you're
I would
absolutely
never do
lovely.
this to you.
Yeah,
Like, you seem perfect.
yeah. And then he gets kidnapped by Haro's people.
Are they actually police officers?
No,
No.
maybe.
Maybe, yeah, that's a better answer. Maybe.
Maybe, but they're not doing police work.
No. And we get to see Steven be a kind of walk through Haro's compound that we kind of see like glimpses of
Mhm.
before the credits roll in like the opening credits of the first episode.
Steven's also a vegan. Just want to point that out. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Even though in the first episode he orders a steak and he has no idea how to order a steak, which is
And he gets it well done.
yeah, like yeah, I'll have the best bit of steak. And they're like, okay, yeah, like a fillet. He's like, yeah, that sounds good. They're like, how do
How
you
would
want
you
to
like
cook
it
it? And he's
cooked?
like, good, like real good. They're like, well done. And he's like, yeah, that sounds fine. They even make a joke about it when he's at the storage unit. He's like, I'm a vegan. The first time I eat steak, like this shit happens to me. I mean, he doesn't phrase it that way, but he's like, the
Yeah.
first time that I eat meat, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
It's funny. It really
Yeah.
is. Um, but so we see Steven like talking with Haro, and we learn more about Haro's backstory.
Potentially, yeah. He says that
Potentially,
he
he
was
could be
original.
lying.
He says that he claims that he was the original avatar for Kanchu,
And
which is cool. There's like parts where he's kind of like as Kanchu is like saying things to Steven, Haro is like, what is he? Is he using this old line? Yeah, I've heard that before. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
telling
So
you to kill me, like
yeah. It's like crush his windpipe.
yeah.
He's like, yes, he's telling me to kill you. Um,
But
yeah.
it's really interesting because I mean, Conchu is like the actual like judge, jury, and executioner, where Amet, which is who Haro is the new avatar for,
Mm,
is a little bit more Thanos, if you will.
yeah.
You know, or
She believes in
Ghost Rider. You know,
like if you're gonna do bad, even if you haven't done bad yet, if you're gonna do bad, she kills you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of along the lines of like the Project Insight from Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like, oh, it's an algorithm. Like, they know based off of who you are now what you might do.
Yeah.
And then they judge based on that.
Yeah. It's
And
also called a movie called Minority Report.
yes. Oh, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
I love that movie, though. It's such a
This is
good
a good
movie.
one. This is a good one.
I mean, not a spectacular movie, but it's enjoyable.
I've
Um,
seen it multiple times. It's good enough to watch it more than a couple times.
yeah.
I also really like Tom Cruise. I know a lot of people don't, but I love Tom Cruise.
Through
We've had
through
we've
being
had this
friends with
conversation.
you, I've learned to separate who Tom Cruise as a person versus Tom Cruise's movies.
Yeah.
He's a psycho son of a bitch, but he makes great movies.
But that's why he makes great movies.
Yeah, he
He
makes
does
great
crazy shit.
because Scientology.
No, because he's
That's what gets me.
awesome.
Uh, Off topic. Holy shit.
Yeah. Hi. Reel it in.
Hmm.
Um, why did I write that down?
What did you write down? Just we're this
Oh,
far.
suit. I wrote suit,
Oh,
but
like
I
suit.
I swapped a couple letters by accident.
It's a 4-letter word.
I wrote slut. Or I guess the I
Suit.
looks like an L, so I was like
Suit.
slut. Why did I write
Suit.
slut?
Anyways,
Suit.
while while Steven is at the compound, he kind of rejects Haro and he's like, "What about a baby? What about, you know, people that are innocent?"
At first, it kind of seems like he's maybe like on board with Haro until he like starts until Haro starts explaining like how Ahmet like judges people, and then he's like you said, like
Yeah.
no. Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
no,
Just wanted to put some context to why
no.
he's like fuck that.
You're
I'm not.
very right because and he even Steven even turns to like the people that are at the compound and are like, "You guys are okay with this? Like
Killing babies or
killing
children.
killing children, people that are innocent, that haven't done anything wrong
Mm.
yet, and you're okay with this?" And no one really seems to react to it. And we get to see a little bit of Haro's power that comes from his cane.
From Ahmet. He says it's a way to channel a sliver of Ahmet's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get to see the jackal. Why are you laughing?
Because I've noted I Nicole's in my head. But we say we get to see a lot. We get to see that. I know.
Well, we get to see. Does she just listen or does she watch?
I don't know.
Nicole,
Good question.
love you. We get to see.
Yeah.
Haro used some of Amit's power to summon a jackal. And this is where we learn that the jackals are invisible
Yeah.
to people that the jackal does not want to see.
Yeah. Because it basically like breaks into the room that Layla and Steven are like hiding in, and he just starts freaking out and goes, Jackal, Jackal. And they show Layla and she goes, what Jackal?
Yeah, she doesn't see anything. She just gets to see Steven get like thrown around.
Yeeted out the window.
Oh, I'm so glad you used the word yeeted. This is also like one of the coolest like not necessarily callbacks, but like one of the coolest suit up scenes that we've seen since the original Avengers when Tony gets thrown out of Avengers Tower.
Oh yeah, that part, yeah.
Where he's falling, he's like, and
suit, suit.
Khonshu and Steven being like, summon the suit, suit.
Mark. Conchu and Mark.
What did I say, Steven?
Mm.
Okay, yeah, Conchu and Mark. And he's like, does he not say suit up? I'm pretty sure he
No,
says suit up.
he just
Or
says suit. He goes, suit. And they just smacks his head on a beam. But then, like, lands on his feet in
superhero landing.
Superhero landing. But in, like, a goofy
over.
ass, like, suit. He's in, like, a tuxedo Moon Knight suit. And he, like, stands up and looks at his reflection, Mark. Yeah. And Mark's like, Steven, what the hell is this? And he's like, you said we needed a suit. And he goes, I didn't mean the psychotic Colonel Sanders suit. It's good.
Really, and then the scene that follows is Steven fighting, like Steven fighting a jackal. And you start Steven with a
V.
They make it apparent in the show with a V, but I wanted to do with a PH, like Steven. Where he's fighting the jackal, and you start really rooting for Steven because he starts to realize that he has
power,
and
responsibility.
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes with great power. I mean, fuck you.
Responsibility.
It's a responsibility.
Nothing. That kills it here in my house, man.
Responsibility.
It's from Rugrats, the Rugrats movie.
I used to have that orange VHS.
Yeah, Tommy. This is way off topic. Tommy has a baby brother. Baby brother, and baby then his dad tells him that his brother is his responsibility, and he hands him like a locket with like a picture inside of it. And at some point in the movie, Tommy like pulls it out and sees the picture of his brother, and he goes, "Responsibility."
Wow, that was a deep dive.
Yep. Anyways, back to Moon Knight.
I do remember that. It's just
I thought you were gonna laugh at it when I say responsibility here. Nicole dies laughing. Maybe she's just humoring me. Probably. Anyways.
With that being said, Nicole, stop laughing at his jokes that you don't understand. Wow, I'm just like talking shit all about her. I love her. She's so great. I'm sorry, Nicole. Anyways, now that I've just like trash talked her for no reason at all.
She'll fight you.
I know, and fine. I'll lose. It's fine. We get to see a really awesome fight between Steven and the Jackals, and also Mark being like, give me control. Give me control. Give me control. Like, and Steven throws a good punch, and Mark is so like, yeah, nice. Give me control. Like,
yeah.
Finally, we get to see a proper suit up. With Mark gaining control and changing from Mr. Knight into the Moon Knight armor.
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
Yeah. And it's a pretty sweet like chase scene, like a rooftop chase scene where the jackal is chasing him. And I saw that happen. Yeah, and yeah, it's it's very Dwight and Michael parkour scene. It's pretty cool.
Parkour.
Yeah. This episode's fucking awesome. I don't want to break down the whole episode. I feel like we're doing that, but super fucking good. Big thing that happens is he loses the scarab, which we now know is basically like a compass to Amet's tomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now Haro has it, so not good.
And then how does the episode end with Steven and Mark?
They wake up in Vegas.
Well, we've been very much on Steven's perspective for all this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What happened?
Steven's now not in control, and he is now basically imprisoned in his own body while Mark is in control, and they wake up in Vegas. It's
It's
yeah,
not
it's pretty good.
Vegas.
Oh, it's Egypt. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a pyramid in Vegas.
And an Eiffel Tower. I've seen it.
Yeah. I'm not dumb. I was making a joke. Sorry, guys.
I know.
But yeah, and that's it.
Didn't
That's
mean
the
to make you
episode.
feel. Didn't mean to make you feel dumb. I knew that you were joking, but
Yeah.
the listeners.
The listeners. Yes, they woke up in Paris and uh, yeah. Anyways, go watch it. Spoiler alert.
Oh, we did not do that for either of these. Wow, we usually catch it like halfway through. Wow. If you guys made it this far, like shame on you.
Maybe we just name this episode Spoiler Alert.
That's a good idea. Yeah. There's also no end credit scene. Just forget it.
Oh fuck.
Oh fuck. Fucking hey. Yeah, let's go ahead and close out this episode, Jake.
But before we do, we just want to talk about a couple things.
Yeah, and those couple of things are
Are you
our
a pirate?
The amount of drinking that I do, yes, but not of rum.
Come?
No.
What?
Whiskey.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like an Irish pirate, if that was a thing. Is our Patreon page. Yeah, super gross. Good for you. You make me feel bad sometimes. I'm totally kidding. I know that it's out of love. But yeah, we do have our Patreon page. It's the best way to support us if you like what we're doing. It's a monthly giving as to whatever level you feel comfortable with, as well as we do have our web store. And I mean, it's a fun way to rep the podcast. If it's not something that you can give monthly to, we totally get it.
Yeah. You can just go on there and buy some of our cool shit.
Yeah. And we mentioned it last week, but we are kind of revamping our web store over the next couple of weeks. So there's some stuff that might disappear. So if there's something that you guys really want, I mean, check it out. Get a version of it, because our web store is going to be changing in the next few weeks. Anyways, we love you guys. We do also have a live stream coming up. It'll either be the first or second week of June, where we're going to eat a bunch of spicy vegan chicken nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Really spicy shit.
Yeah, it's the hot ones.
Yeah.
Season 15 hot ones.
Yeah, it's the Hot Ones Challenge. So if there's stuff that you want our opinions on, questions about us as the hosts, really just about anything, submit your questions on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram. We don't have a Twitter, but we have a TikTok.
Maybe we should get a Twitter.
Yeah, we're not that famous.
Yeah.
But we'll start doing more to like TikTok as well once Jake's move is completed, so we're a little bit closer together. But if there's stuff that you want to ask us, whether it's nerd related, you want to try and stump us, our opinions, stuff about us, whatever it might be, go submit your questions, because we're going to be doing that Hot Ones Challenge here within the next few weeks. Well, like a month and a half.
Yeah. We'll get an actual date for you guys soon.
Yeah,
but
we'll get an actual date in the next like week or two.
start coming up with your questions now, and then we can.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and no animals shall be harmed. So that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do it.
You want me to do it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Thank you so much. We love you. And this has been the All Things Nerd podcast.
Cheers.